Welcome to the second tutorial of mobile application development using React Native tools. Today we'll create a basic wireframe of login form using React Native. So before we begin, we'll plan that how we're going to do that. So to explain that more clearly, I'm going to use Adobe XD. So you can see here in last tutorial, you see the basic page comes up with hello world. Okay, so consider this is your primary screen. In last tutorial you see it's called app.js, right? So this is the output it's shown on last tutorial. Okay, so consider this as the primary screen. So you can see here this is our primary main class output, right? So this is what we see in last tutorial, right? So it shows hello world in a primary screen. So it comes under app.js primary class. So what we're going to do today is we'll create a new class called login.js. Okay, login.js, and what I am going to have on that login.js is a primary image. Okay, so I'm going to have a primary image in center, then a tagline. So you can create any application if you wish. There is a logo in the center, then there is a tagline. At the bottom, you have to have a field. Okay, so we need to have a field to enter username, then password, then a button. Okay, so these two are the fields to enter username or email. So the user have to enter his username or email, then password. Okay, at last a login button. Okay, so this is what we're going to create. Okay, even though we're going to create another class. Okay, what I'm going to create in this is login form. Okay, so we'll create a structural implementation in login class. Okay, so first section contains the image and a tagline. Okay, so I'll make it as, okay, so this rich section. Okay, then second we'll create the second section that contains the login information. Okay, that falls under blue section. Okay, so this blue section comes from the second file. Okay, so here we'll create this component. So we'll create this section in another class and we're going to import it here. Okay, what we're going to do is we use this component in some other class and I'm going to import it in our main login.js file. Okay, so this blue section I'm going to create in a separate file and I'm going to import in login.js. So this is what we're going to do today. Okay, so hope you all understand what we're going to do today. Okay, and one more thing, this is our primary class and it shows the output which is written in primary class. Okay, so let's create our project. Okay, so I'll move to my desktop. In my desktop I'm going to create my new project. So how we can create it: Expo, initialize, then the project name. So I'll name it as, okay, you can give a whatever name you wish. You give a name which is suitable for your project name. it asks you to select the template, so I'll go with a blank template, so press enter. After this, it takes time to download Java dependencies. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to download JavaScript dependencies. So wait until it's get downloaded. I'll move to my app folder and I start npm. So it starts my project. It opens Metro Builder in my local host, and I told you before, you can scan your QR code through Expo Go or Expo app in your mobile, or else if your Android emulator is ready, you can simply start run on Android device or emulate. It takes some time to get loaded, so you can see the progress in your command line. Now it's all done. So Android running app on SDK phone. Right? So you can see open up app.js to start working on your application. And what we did is we go for a hotkey O, which will open my code in text editor. So in my last tutorial, I told you app.js is our primary class and it shows the text here, and we edited that to hello world. So you can see here hello world. So this is what I explained at the beginning as well. So app.js is responsible to create this hello world text representation. So what we're going to do is we'll create a new login.js file and login form. Those are two components, and we'll input that login form inside this login.js class. So let's start editing. So before we start editing, I'll go with some lazy work. Okay, so I told you before, we are lazy to code a bunch of code. So what I'm going to do is there are some React Native extensions available. You can install it. So first one is I install React Native tools. Okay, then React Native React Redux snippet. Okay, React Native snippet, full stack React Native snippets, uh, Rocket Seed, React Native. Like I don't know which extension is responsible for creating those codes. So I just installed a bunch of extensions. So one of it will help me to reduce the code. Okay. So that's why I had this bunch of extensions. Okay. If you don't want these extensions, just leave it. You can hard code it anyhow. Okay. So we'll create new folder. Okay, so we'll classify this. Okay, we'll classify each of the files. Okay, so I'll click on my application, and you can see here there is an option to create new folder. Okay, so the folder name is src source. Okay, so this is my folder name, source. Inside this source folder, I'm going to create another folder called components. Okay, inside this components, I'll create another folder called logins. So this login folder will contain all the uh, logging related files. Okay. So this is how you will create folders, and the first option to create new file. So I'll create a new file called login.js. Okay. So my first JavaScript file called login.js. So you can see here this is my file login.js. This is what I am created here as well. Okay, so let's see how it is structurized. Okay, so this is my application, and you can see here this is the folder I created, right? Source, inside source, components, login, and my file is here. Okay, so we close this. So let's start our login.js file. Okay, so this is responsible for creating this entire design. Okay, so I told you I'm lazy to code, so I type a shortcut RNC. Okay, so when I type RNC, it shows to input the component. Okay, so when I type RNC and enter, that gives me the skeleton. Okay, so this is such a basic skeleton, so you don't have to code each and everything. This is our primary thing, and we don't need a constructor at the beginning, so I delete this. Okay, so this is what we need. Okay, this is what we need at the basic stage. Okay, so let's start coding. Okay, so this is my primary file. Okay, so you can see we need to use an image, okay, and a text, a tagline. So those two are the components we're going to use in login.js file. To use those components, you need to mention that I'm going to use those components. Okay, so here you can see view text, and you can mention we're going to use an image. So you need to tell that I'm going to use an image. Okay, so we need to use an image. Already we have text, so we're going to use a text as well. Okay, so those are the components we're going to use in this page. Okay, so let's start build. Okay, so inside this view we'll start coding. Okay, so this will be responsible for our initial design. Okay, so how to insert our image? Simply it's like HTML taglines. Okay, so I'm going to mention image. Okay, then source. So when you mention the source, it asks you to specify the path of the image. Okay, okay, inside this braces you need to tell the path where you have the file. Okay, so to have that path, I'll create a new folder. Okay, so let's close this. Let's close this first. Okay, so inside this I'm going to mention the path. Okay, let me make. Okay, now you can see properly. So I need to specify a path of an image here. So inside this login folder, I'm going to create a new folder called img. Okay, so inside this image folder, I need to have my logo image. Okay, so there is another way. We can simply right click on it, reveal in file explorer. That will open directly the path. Okay, so inside this folder, I'm going to have my image file. Okay, so in my desktop, I already have an image file. It's a PNG file, so I just copy this. Okay, inside source component login image. Okay, so name of the file is logo and type of a file is png. Okay, so this is my image file. Okay, so I'll specify the path here. Okay, so when you type this, it shows what are the path available inside your project. Okay, so I select this login. Inside login I have image, then logo.png. so this is my file I'm going to use. Okay, so now we insert our image. Okay, down below we're going to put the tagline, right? So that's text. Okay, so we're going to insert a text. Okay, it's right here. Okay, so this is my tagline. So this is my basic skeleton. Okay, so I'm going to use these two, image and a text file. Okay, so let's see how we can run this file. Okay, we need to see that whether it's working properly or not. To check that, we need to import this file into our primary class. Okay, so that's simple. Go to your primary class. Okay, go to your primary class, and what I'm going to do is in this section. Okay, in this section I'm going to delete this all. Okay, I'm going to delete this all, and inside this return I'm going to tell my file name. Okay, like this login. Okay, so that's my file name. Okay, started in my day. So I just mentioned that I have a file called login, and I'm going to view that here. Okay, so to tell that, after you mention that, you can see here import login from where it is located. Okay, where it is located. So it automatically get the path, or else you can hard code it. You can import login from, then gives the path. Okay. Now we design this part which is inside the red box, right? Logo and tagline. Okay, and we import that here, right, using this tag login. So simply it's the name of a file login. When you type this, you will auto generated import login from this folder. Okay, or else you can hard code import the file name login, okay, from the directory. Okay, that will import that file into your primary class. Okay, so that we do. So let's see how it's shown up in our emulator. So you can see here it's not aligned, it's somewhere in center, center, and this tagline goes somewhere, right, not aligned, but it replicate our components. Okay, so that's fine. So let's see how we can edit that first. Okay, how we can edit that. Okay, so this is not aligned, right? So this is not aligned, so we'll edit that. How we can edit that? Okay, so you can see here this constructor for styles, and they use style sheet to create basic design. Okay, let's see what will happen if I have this constructor styles in my login page itself. Okay, so in login page I don't have constructor, right? I just paste this. Okay, and it shows it doesn't have styles, right? So let's use that component here. Okay, so you need to tell that I'm going to use a style sheet. Okay, this is responsible for your complete styling, just how you use CSS. Okay, like that, the way it has this style. Okay, so I just save. Okay, simply I say this and I see now how it's look like. There's no a bunch of visible changes. Okay, bunch of visible changes. Let's see how to make it, how to make a visible change, right? So what I'm going to do is, let's fill this, right? Let's fill this and check how it's look like. Okay, so I'm going to fill this with some mild color. Okay, so I'm using Adobe XD, so you can use any software you wish, but the important thing is you need to know the color code. Okay, so I'm going to use this color. So I just copy this color code and I'm going to use as my background color. Let's see what are the changes. Okay, we have this. Okay, now I have this color. Okay, so you need to apply that style. You need to apply that. It doesn't make changes, right? So what's the reason it doesn't make changes? Because we need to apply this style to our components. Okay, so which style it's using. Okay, so we need to tell that in this view. Okay, so we had a view. In this view you need to tell that I'm going to use a separate style. Okay, so you need to mention that in view. So you need to tell that view style, which is equals to, okay, styles dot container. Okay, so this style we're going to use. So you can see here what's the styling elements we used. Okay, okay, so now we can save this and see what are the changes it made. Now you can see here these are the changes made. Okay, so somehow it's get changed. Okay, it's in center and it shows the tagline, but we couldn't able to set the background color completely. Okay, so let's design that later on. But now you can see the visible changes. Okay, earlier this text was somewhere else, now it's in center and the logo also in center. Okay, so this is what I have. So like I told you, we designed this component, this red box. Okay, we designed this red box logo and tagline. So let's create this. Okay, to avoid complexity, I'm going to create a new file inside my login folder. I just click login folder and create a new file called login form. Okay, so I have, okay, I just forgot it. I need to mention this is my JavaScript file. Okay, so back again, I'm going to do my lazy work rmc, okay, and delete this constructor. I don't want it now. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so now you can see I have my login page and I'm going to create my login form. So let's design our login form. So login form have um, three things, which is username, password, and login will be a button. Here the user need to enter the data. Okay, so that we're going to do in our code. So here let's design our login form. Okay, so first one is text input. Okay, so that's responsible for all the text input. Okay, so the beauty of this, simply here you can, when you mention a type, right, when you mention a type, text input, okay, just complete this, you can see it's get updated, right, it's get updated with text input. Okay, so use ls coding. Okay, uh, code smart. So text input, I just mentioned the text input. Okay, so inside this text input I'm going to mention that a placeholder. Okay, placeholder equals to, it shows username or email. Okay, so it has a text box and it shows username or password, or else you can give enter your username or email. Okay, so you can give any text. This is simply a text representation. Here you can see username or email. Okay, the same thing what I did here. Okay, so this is my first text folder. Okay, let's create the second one. Second text input. Okay, that also my text input. Okay, then placeholder equals to enter your password. Okay, so you have to ask the user to enter the password. Okay, so when I'm exiting, get closed. Okay, third one, we're going to create a button. Okay, so to create a button, we create a touchable opacity, right? So when you get clicked, it shows some shadows or transparent kind of thing. So we can enable that or create that by mentioning touchable opacity. Okay, so when I press enter, it input this answer. So I just delete this. Okay, so it's called touchable opacity. Okay, so every time when I insert new component, it added into our import section. Okay, so check whether it's get updated or not. Okay, so in touchable opacity, I'm going to tell that I'm going to use inside that touchable opacity text. Okay, so that text should say login. Okay, so this is what my second components. Okay, so you can see here username, password, and login. This is what we create in login form. Okay, so the blue box we created, it has a text input, it has second text input, then we enable touchable opacity because we create a button, right? So touchable opacity, and it contains a text, a login. Okay, so this is what we created. Okay, so before we move on to that styling here also, let's see how we can import it. Okay, inside here. So this is my first view, right? Each and every views, consider each and every views are box. Okay, each box, this is my first box, it contains this, and I'm going to create my second view. Before that, I just wanted to tell you that each and everything I call view are, this is my view, first view, the red box, then second view, this blue box, and also this whole container, right, this login.js, that also a common view. Okay, let's create a general view, right? Okay, I edited that earlier, that's right. Okay, So this is my outline view, right? So this is my outline view that's applicable with my style. Okay, so this is my red box. So you can see here, this is my red box. That's the view I created. Then I'm going to create another view. Okay, I'm going to create another view to show login form. Okay, so after I mention the login form, it's important. Okay, I'm going to apply the same style for this as well. Okay, now I apply all the style, everything. So let's consider some styling elements. Okay, so here you can see this constructor styles is responsible for style. So let's create some other constructors. Okay, so some other containers to design separately for this view and also for this login form view. So, okay, so let's see how we can do that. So you can see the name container here. So I just press enter. Let's create logo container. Okay, so inside this brace we can give separate styles. Okay, and also we can create form container. We can set separate style for form as well. Okay, so this will take logo container style. Okay, so I just mentioned it is null. Okay, so you can see logo container is null. Okay, then this one is form container. Okay, so we have separate styles. Okay, actually I just mentioned you. Okay, fix this. Okay, so there is two views and we can set two separate styles. So now we have the same login form here. We can set styling element. Okay, I just going to get this and paste it here. Okay, let's see some styling elements. Okay, so now we have separate logo container style, form container, and also we can set style for specific elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a tagline. Okay, so I'm going to create a tagline style for my tag. So this is just a name, so you can give any name. Okay, so this tagline style I'm going to use for my tagline. Here I used. Okay, so what I'm going to do is text simply style equals to inside here styles dot which styles you're going to use. Okay, so I have tagline. Okay, so I have tagline style here that I'm going to use here as well. Okay, so tagline. So whatever style you mention here will apply. Okay, so let's do some styling. Let's begin with color. So this will take responsibility for the color of the title tag. Okay, I'm going to use here. Okay, so you can add multiple styles. Simply press command and you can add some other styles. Okay, so I just put margin top, so I can adjust top margin. I can give some random pixels. Okay, just simply 10. Then font size, I'll make it a little bit bigger, right? 20. Then text align, I'm going to make it center. Then opacity. Okay, so not much, just simply give 0.5. Okay, so these are the stylings I give to my text. Okay, okay, it's get loading still. Okay, so let's edit this and we'll go back and check that. Okay, sometimes it may take some time based on your internet connectivity. Okay, so let's finish this code and check that again. So I give some styling to my tag. Let's edit the next class, login form. So what I'm going to do in a login form, here also I'm going to give some styles. Okay, so this is my primary style. Okay, each and everything going to come under separate styles. Okay, so view. Okay, so I told you before, my container, that's another style, and inside there is my second view. Okay, so let's edit this view style equals to styles dot container. So I'm going to use my default style which I used here, the container. Okay, so this will make the background white and align all the items into center. Let's edit this login form. Okay, so I have the style edited. For this placeholder you can edit some style elements. Okay, placeholder text color, so you can edit and give some color to it. Okay, so I'm going to make it transparent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this transparent. Okay, so placeholder text color equals to, you can use RGBA. Okay, so inside inverted commas RGBA, and I'm going to give a color code 255 55 55, then 0.8. This is the amount of transparent. Okay, this is the amount of transparent. I make it transparent a bit. Okay, so this is how you can make some a slightly bit of transparent text. Okay, then next I'm going to introduce return key type. Okay, so return key type, that is responsible when you type your input, we can navigate, we can say that you have to navigate to the next. Okay, so I'm going to set that. Okay, okay, so these are the attributes we have for our user. Okay, just press enter and I'm going to do the same thing to my enter password. So just press enter and paste. Okay, so enter password also have this option, and I can provide, or I can say return type. Okay, for this return type, now the user enter his password, right? So there is a return type called go. Okay, that will lead to the next component, detachable opacity text. Okay, so that's my third component, so I can edit that as well. Okay, so we can edit this detachable opacity. Okay, so we give style, okay, equals to inside here styles dot, I'm going to create separate style. Okay, I'm going to create separate style. That style is called button container. Okay, So we don't have that style yet, so we can create it down below. Simply a button container. Okay, you can do it in any order, right? So I just mentioned button container. I'm going to use a button container, so I'm going to use that here. Okay, now it doesn't have any style. Okay. So I use styles, right? So I use styles here. I just simply copied from there. So you need to mention that to use those styles, you need to mention that style sheet. Okay, so you use styles, right? So you need to mention that you have a style sheet. Okay, so when you hover your mouse, it shows what style you apply. So if it is show that style, that is working properly. Okay, so now we have button container and container style. Also we can do styles to this itself. Okay, so after this, next I can mention style. Okay, I can give separate style. So here styles dot, I'll create new style. Okay, input text. Okay, I created a new style. So each and every time when I create new style, I need to mention that I have that style. Okay, just okay, input text. That's my style component name. Okay, so now I have my input text style, button container style, and almost my outline container style. Everything I have. Okay, so I use the style here. I just use this also an input component, so I'm going to use the same style for this. So okay, so this is what I did. Let's add some styling elements to this. So for input text, okay, for my input text, there are some styling elements you can use. Mention height, so you can mention some height. I just go with number 20. Background color, for background color I'm going to use exactly what I mentioned before, RGBA. So when I mention this, mention a color like this, I can give some transparency. Okay, so 255, 255, 255. Okay, this gives me lower transparent. Okay, not higher transparent. Okay, the level of transparency. Okay, earlier we mentioned 8%, 80% transparency. Okay, this is 20% transparency. Okay, so after I mentioned the background color, which is margin bottom. After I mention the margin bottom, I can mention the size margin bottom 10. Then I can give font size. So I mention, okay, I'll go with 20. Then I can set color also. So this input text. So I'll keep this color as white. So color code for white. It's simply FFF. Then you can give another style, padding horizontal. Okay, so you can give vertical padding, horizontal padding. Okay, so I just give horizontal padding 10. Okay, okay. So I just mentioned this. Okay, so these all are for my input text styling. Okay, so for my button, okay, for my button I'm going to do some styling. I just mentioned some background color. Okay, so background color, I'll go with some random color. I don't know what color it is. I'll just go for some random color. Okay, then it's a button, right? So I can put vertical padding for this. Again, a random number. So to do this perfectly, if you have an XD kind of software, you can see the padding level like pixels and everything that will match. Okay. So if you use any prototype tools, you can exactly fix the colors and padding. So, okay. So I just give some styles to do this. Moreover, I can do style to my button text as well. Okay. So center this text, the text that I mentioned called login, right? I ask the user to log in. I can edit that style as well. Okay? So you can edit the login text style as well. So you can simply call style. Every time when you make style, remember this: whatever component you are using, you have to begin with style, okay, equal, then which portion you are using, okay, styles dot yours, which style you're going to use, that section name. Okay, so I'll create something new, button text. So I create a new component or new style section. So you can go with button text. Okay, so you can edit or give style to your login text. I just simply put alignment because that should align center, and also padding vertical I give earlier 15. Okay, so I just keep the same padding level for the container of that button and also the text. Okay, so this is what we have up to now. Edited is our login form. Okay, so exactly here what it is here, that the same thing we created here as a, then we have a login form that also have all the styling elements. Let's go for a quick recap. At the beginning, we started with our initial main class app.js, and we needed to create a new login uh, page. Okay, just like this. It have a logo part and also a login input part. To do that, we create new folder. Just click on our primary app and start create the folders. Source component login, and we create our first file here, login.js. After we create our file login.js, we created a new view, the red box. So we just consider this our very first red box that contains image and a tagline. Then we create another view to hold our login form. So that's what we had in a blue box. So that blue box take responsibility here. We created our login form. So to do that, we create text input. First text input to enter username and email. Then second text input to enter the password. Then third, we create a button by giving touchable opacity to the button. Okay. So this is what we created at the beginning. To edit some styling, we create view. This will applicable to the whole view. So this whole view will take the style of this container. Okay, so which is you write in your container that takes that style. Okay, so that container we had. Second, we had a placeholder. Then we give a color to that placeholder, RGBA, that's white color, and we edit some transparency to that. Then we mention a return key type next, that will goes to the next same component, text input. Then we add some style to the input text, that input text style mentioned here. Okay. Then we create touchable opacity to our text to make as a button. And we have two different style options. Like I told you, you can give styles to each and every components of it, touchable opacity and also the text. So this button text, that responsible, this code responsible for the style of button text, and also that button container takes this style. So here these are the styles you can use. You can give padding, you can give height, background color, margin bottom, font size, padding color, color of that component. Okay, so like that style, based on your wish, you can give appropriate style. Same thing we did in our login form as well. So we give some style to our tagline. So style, and we give some style to the tagline. So you can see here this code is responsible for our title tag style. So color, margin top, font size, text align, and opacity we give. And you can see here we mentioned some style to our logo container and also the form container. So, okay. So we didn't edit that still. We didn't give any styling elements, and simply I save this, and let's check how it's look. So you can see here, this is how it's look. These are had a background color, and you can enter your username and password, and you can give login, and you can press login. Okay, so when you enter username and password, and you can press enter. Okay, so this is how we create our initial login page. Okay, so let's see in our next tutorial how we can create more styling component to this image. And you can see here this tagline is not properly created. Okay, so you can see I mentioned tagline here and title tag. So rename it. Title tag. So now you can see it's get changed. Okay, so based on the title you mentioned, it takes the style. Okay, so you can change the color. So you can, yeah, I just 25. When I press save, it edited. Okay, so this background, you have some white space, right? So that comes from the containers. Okay, so you can check here, this background is simply white, so you can change that, right? You can change that by giving a proper color. So you can just simply copy this color. This is the color, right? That we used for our login page container. So I just give the same color here also, and I press save, and now you can see there is no white spaces, and completely you build your login form. So let's see in our next tutorial with more styling elements. See elements. See.